Well, as we approach the end of the year, Universal seems to be ramping up their marketing and previews that they are showing for Epic Universe. And as they've been very tight lipped on many aspects of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic, and especially the Battle at the Ministry ride. But this morning, Universal released some actual pictures, not concept art, actual pictures of various aspects of the attraction. And we're going to go through these and take a look because they're pretty spectacular looking. And we're going to compare these to the concept art that was released and see what they look like. And in my opinion, I think it looks better than the concept art does. So we're going to take a look at this, talk about it, and give some thoughts. So hi, I'm Jared with Capture the Magic, and we're going to use this article here from Attractions Magazine. Now, Universal did release these on their Twitter, but for whatever reason, the images they had on their Twitter account were kind of blurry, and they didn't have all of these that Attractions Magazine has on their article here. So I'm not really sure why that's the case, but we're going to use theirs because it seems to be the best one here that I have found. So they go on to say here, first photos inside Harry Potter and the Battle of the Ministry at Epic Universe, and includes the ride vehicle. And they go on to talk about how Battle of the Ministry is Universal's, quote, most impressive ride to date. And according to the company, which just shared its first photos from inside the attraction. And again, this isn't concept art. This is actual photos from the ride. It said Universal shared photographs from inside Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry on which is today, November 19th. Onboard riders will encounter Dolores Umbridge after the events of the Harry Potter films. The new ride opens May 22nd, 2025 as part of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic. And the official synopsis, if you're unaware of this ride, is you travel by Metro Flu from Paris to the British Ministry of Magic, where Dolores Umbridge is about to stand trial. Board a lift and join Harry, Ron, and Hermione as you journey deep into the Ministry's many departments. Thrilling adventure, fantastic beast, and unexplored mystery await in Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry. So, first one we have here is this is the Atrium and the Magic Flu Network and the Atrium here. So, I mean, again, this is not concept art. This is actual photos. This looks. We'll compare it to the concept art. This looks even more impressive than what the concept art was showing here. And then this again, I mean that we were talking about if that was going to be the case here, but they have the storm, the clouds and the ceiling there, and this Dolores Umbridge kind of like wanted poster thing does move, and I mean, it looks incredible, and especially this one right here. We take a look at the concept art. I mean, this is some of the concept art that they shared. So we look at it right here with the atrium right there. I mean, I think this looks better than the concept art. I mean, this one was much more muted, a little bit more greens, and the greens are still there, but the reds and the gold really pop in these. I mean, this is one I'm so intrigued to check out because if you just look at, like, they haven't said much about it. The rumors are out there that this is the most elaborate ride ever created, that multiple different manufacturers have different aspects of different things they're working on in terms of ride manufacturers, and the fact that there's only one. There's a show in the land, but there's only one ride in here, which would make you believe that all of the money went into this one ride versus most of the lands are going to have 2 to 3 attractions. So we are potentially looking at a ride that is unlike anything we've ever seen before. And just taking a look at these photos here, I mean, it looks pretty spectacular. I mean, this almost looks like Christmas colors here, which I don't think this is for Christmas necessarily. I think this is just what it's going to look like. But, and again, this is not concept art. These are actual photos. They got the statues here. And it looks like you can either they've built interior pieces to this or it's some sort of to look like actual offices. But if I were to guess at everything being at scale in this land, that they have actually built out these interior offices here to actually, instead of being fake looking, they're actually going to be real, like 3-dimensional, like actual set pieces and things in there. And we go into Umbridge's office where these next photos, it says, it's where we meet Higgledy, Umbridge's house elf. Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry marks the first appearance of Higgledy, and she was created just for the ride here. And again, look at the detail on this. And they got a chandelier. I mean, I don't, obviously these are just photos, but I don't know if I've recalled more of this level, like intrinsic, like just details in the theming and just what this looks like. It looks incredible. And here's some close-up, some stuff. Just this is probably the stuff on top of the wall, like underneath the ceiling, I would guess. Looks like you got a dragon, a wizard, a unicorn. And there's Higgledy there, which is what we saw earlier, but I don't know. I'm guessing Higgledy is also an animatronic, but I would assume this is an actual animatronic that's going to move. It says, throughout the ministry, as usual in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter theme park areas, details abound within the props and architecture. So you got the newspaper stuff here. And if you've been in, again, the Wizarding World, these are things that you've seen before. So you got the newspapers about Umbridge standing trial, the Daily Prophet. That looks like a invitation of sorts, perhaps. Maybe if you guys know what that is, let me know. I don't necessarily know what that is right off the bat, but it looks like some sort of invitation. And then again, the theme, like the tile with the greens, I mean, it looks illuminated, but I'm guessing it's just the way the light is reflecting off of those tiles. But either way, it looks great. And there is, wow. So you got a ticket booth. It looks like some packages. Wow. It looks, I mean, we even saw on some of the sneak preview they showed at Donkey Kong Country over in Japan, some of the way that what is going to be a waterfall in Epic Universe, but there's the face of the monkey there has like steam coming out of it. It almost looked like CGI, but in fact it was a real set piece. And I think some of this stuff, I think a lot of people would assume if you're looking at this is another concept art, which, but you can see here, I mean, the level of detail and just how clean and crisp it looks too. Looks like we got some clocks in a wall. And the one that's really cool, the ride vehicle for Harry Potter and the Battle of Ministry will emulate an elevator traveling through the Ministry of Magic. It says, however, Tower of Terror, this is not. Stay tuned. And that's the thing. It looks very Tower of Terror-esque in here. And just the detail and, I mean, the seats here. I mean, obviously, you're not going to be standing in the elevator. You're going to be seated and have a seatbelt, but it very much has that Tower of Terror vibe for sure. And again, if we go into the concept art here, I'm trying to see if there's any other areas that were in the concept art that they had some actual pictures of. I mean, we can see here like the tile on the walls there, and we look here. I mean, I think it looks better than the concept art. And that's the thing too, like, especially here, I know it's a different scene, but how it looks, I think this looks better. And, I guess I could be jaded. I'm not used to, when you look at Disney stuff, usually Disney's concept art, nothing like the finished product. I mean, we've seen that with Epcot. We've seen that with a lot of things. This is why the things that Disney announced, I've been very skeptical about how that's going to look, especially look at Villains Land. I just don't imagine, I know there's some people even doubt that they're going to build Villains Land, but let's say they do complete it. Let's just take them at their word for this scenario. I don't imagine it's going to look like the concept art that they showed, given that just looks very complex with like mountain ranges and things. Maybe they do, maybe they feel the pressure, but it's not something I'm used to seeing necessarily. But when you look at Universal here, it seems like they're very much going into the under promising and over delivering versus the reverse. And I think the concept art looked fantastic, and the finished product here just looks even better. And again, just look at that main atrium scene. Like, I almost just can't in my head like comprehend this in terms of like, this in my head is telling me this is concept art, but this is the real atrium that you're going to walk into. And those clouds, I mean, obviously these are still photos, but like, it looks like you're looking at the actual sky. So I'm assuming there's going to be, projection technology to be able to pull that off. But yeah, I mean, we just look at that compared to that there. I mean, I think it just looks better than the concept art, which is not something I'm used to seeing. Now, you can see the scale of it is the same and the size of it, but it seems like it's even better. So, I mean, I would love to see a video of this, but it seems like as for now, they're just going to tease this out. But I just wanted to make a video because I just thought these pictures were pretty spectacular in how they look and give us an idea of this. Now, obviously, we don't know a lot of the details about the ride itself. Universal's been very hush about that, and I don't imagine before opening that they're really going to reveal too much. I think this is something a lot of people are very curious about, and they may very well just sort of play into that until it opens, but they are giving us some sneak peeks in here. Again, given how complex this is and the scale of it, if you look at the construction photos, which we will have another construction update video coming out this week about the latest construction of Epic Universe, but the building itself for the Battle of the Ministry is almost as big as the entire Ministry of Magic land itself. So it's a massive building. Seems to be the most ambitious undertaking they've had in terms of a ride. And while they've showed us a lot of things inside of Dark Universe in terms of, the Frankenstein experiment, Monsters Unchained, they're showing us stuff in here, but not on the same level. I think they're having a more, they're trying to sell more of Dark Universe and those aspects of that land versus the Harry Potter stuff. And they may not, the other reason too, they may not be able to say too much given that they might have Warner Brothers out there saying they can't say too much or want to keep it more hush hush. But, given that it's a licensed IP, they may have some restrictions on that end. But I just want to go through this. It's not going to be a very long video. I don't have a lot of thoughts other than it looks fantastic. It looks even better than the concept art. And I imagine if Disney's looking at this and they weren't worried, I imagine they're starting to get a little worried. And if they haven't been worried, I think that's a little hubris on their part. But it's hard to look at this and the level of detail and quality and what you're seeing compared to the concept art. I mean, as good as Disney's attractions have been in the past, and we've talked in this channel about some of the more recent offerings, have, not been up to par in terms of what they used to do, to this level of detail and this theming and the scale of it. I guess the closest you could say would be Rise of the Resistance, but what I'm seeing in these photos here, it's at the least on scale with that, if not more. Obviously, you look in there on one of the scenes of Rise of the Resistance, and you've got the AT-ATs in there, which I think is a pretty cool effect, and you are going through a First Order ship, so there is obviously some massive set pieces in there and everything like that, but this is just the Atrium here, and this is already, this isn't even really, the only part we're seeing of the ride itself is just the ride vehicles. Everything else we're seeing here is what you're going to see through the queue, and if the queue is at this level, with this much detail, I can only imagine what level of detail the ride itself is going to be that we're going to get to experience. So I think this is potentially, I've heard the rumors of it, this is potentially one of the most ambitious, if not the most ambitious ride that perhaps has ever been built. Obviously, I think it's the most ambitious one for Universal, as they've had very successful rides in even just the Harry Potter franchise alone. You talk about Hagrid's as probably, in my opinion, easily one of the best coasters in Florida for sure, but either you're talking about Universal or Disney. Obviously, they have Velocicoaster, and they've done, you've got the Forbidden Journey, these classic rides that they've done very well. And not only the ride's good, but the queue areas in which you walk through, over at Green Gots, you're walking through the bank, and that ride, I know some people don't think is the greatest ride, but I think going through the bank areas is a really cool thing in the queue. And in this one, going through the Ministry of Magic, which is something a lot of people wanted to do for a long time, as this has been a ride that's been rumored by Universal for years now, even before Epic Universe was announced. So I'm just imagining the scale of this ride, the quality, just everything we're seeing here. I'm blown away by it. And it's not often I say that. And, obviously we'll have to wait and see what the final product looks like. Hopefully the ride is up to the same, level of detail that we're seeing in the queue. Nothing leads me to believe that it won't be, but either way, I think it looks great. Hopefully we get some more sneak peeks at some other things. So hopefully we get some more snippets and details as time goes on, as we get closer to May and the opening date for Epic Universe. But either way, that's going to be it though for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about these ride photos, and do you think it looks better than the concept art? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.